Ryan from Rochester, Emmer, do you think that the DNC was the party perspective of that? Do you think that the DNC was the party perspective of what the Harris campaign should be, but Harris is in charge of her own campaign? So is it possible she can break with the party line, just not at the party nomination? I mean, like, honestly, all this stuff is happening so fast. If Harris had more time, maybe she would have not had Jamie Harrison calling more shots, right? Like Jamie Harrison, or maybe she would have been able to actually influence. They were still using the Biden font. Did you notice that? They're still using the Biden. I mean, E.
You're reading reports. She's Kamala addresses Harris HQ in Wilmington, Delaware.
Yes.
Like, sorry, like. That's not Harris HQ.
Right.
Like, the reason that is now Harris HQ is because Biden HQ, which is completely built up and has an infrastructure, is in Wilmington, Delaware.
Right.
Like,
I mean, and they need to, like, she's using this infrastructure on the fly. That wasn't what she put in place first.
Right.
And she kept O'Malley Dillon on.
And Chavez Rodriguez, like both two high up right. campaign people for Biden.
And she kept them because it would have been impossible for them to, those people know the campaign infrastructure. They know the strategy about getting out the vote. They've hired all those people. For her to begin from scratch on that, in that regard, would have been quite difficult.
Yes.
So a lot of this, it's just so difficult to discern what is the Biden holdover and what is Harris. And, you know, the Obama legacy has been having a chokehold on the campaign since 2008. Like, the Obama legacy is controlling the Democratic Party, essentially, like in its infrastructure and messaging, whether it be the presidential candidates for the Democrats for the past two cycles coming out of his direct administration, his Secretary of State, and then his Vice President. The last, you know, or, you know, and what comes downstream from that is that it's harder for Harris to break through. Like, Osita Nuevo made this point on Twitter. Why were people assuming she was bad at politics based on that one run in 2020 when nobody was able to run effectively outside of Biden and Bernie, because it was always those two. It was always two of the biggest names in that race, and everybody was an also ran.
But to your point about the Obama...
Even Harris, I mean, even Warren, who was more successful, wasn't, what's it called? An also ran? It's also ran, right? Yeah. So it's just... You can't glean anything from that. Go on.
To your point about the Obama residue, though, is like... David Plouffe is advising her, and that advisor role was seemingly between a race between David Plouffe and Jim Messina, both Obama campaign alum.
Right.
The person doing the vice presidential vetting was Eric Holder.
Yes.
Like it's still in a number of ways, obviously Obama's party, and in the sense of like a lot of like the also a vestigial popularity for Biden comes from his association with Barack Obama, the most one of if not the most popular politician in the country, and who has been basically for over a decade now.
Yep.
So I definitely agree that it's hard to sometimes parse where what sphere of influence is predominating now, especially that, as Sam mentioned last night, this campaign is nascent. It's fledgling. It's been around for 5 weeks.
Right. 100%. I totally agree with your take on that.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.